So welcome, Shabbat Shalom. It's very cool in here, isn't it? It's so nice and cold almost. we're practicing how the mind works, right? But at least it's not 100 degrees in the sanctuary right now. So we're glad that all of you are here. Roy and I look forward to leading you in the service tonight. And you'll notice that a lot of the service is going to be in English tonight because we don't really often get to read the English parts. And we go through the Hebrew, not always realizing what's there. So Roy and I thought it would be really nice, since A, our Hebrew's not really good, and B, it would be nice to see what is it we're talking about sometimes when we go through these.
Right, and see, the less we sing, the less they suffer.
That's right. Singing is not our forte. Our prayer book is so full of so many wonderful readings, and sometimes if you just take a moment to open a page and look, we skip a lot of stuff when we go through the service. So I'd like to begin with the theme on page 2. We rarely get to the very beginning of the prayer book. And I'll have us read it together, but first I'd like to read the first sentence to set the tone for tonight. And the theme is in that first sentence. We are called unto life, destiny uncertain. So think of that, and that'll be a theme that comes out during the evening service. So let's join together and read that whole poem it is really together. Please join in. We are called unto life, destiny uncertain, yet we offer thanks for what we know, for health and healing, for labor and repose, for renewal of beauty and earth and sky, for that blend of human holy which inspires compassion, and for hope, eternal, promising light, for life, for health, for hope, for beautiful, bountiful blessing, all praise to the source of being. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekor nefesh kol chai.
Now we'd like to invite our better halves to come light the candles, and that'll be on page 120. So Holly and Sarah, if you would mind doing the honors.
Please stand.
It's the trick candles. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to sing Lecha Dodi on page 138. And we'll do the usual verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And at verse 9, we'll stand and welcome the Sabbath bride and usher her in. Please join me. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabelo, Shamor v'zahor b'dibur echad. Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem uferet v'yid Allah. Lecha dodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha. Ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikeret nesuchar. Sof maaser b'mechshva tehila. Lecha dodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Yitorari, ki arech uri, shir dari, kevod Adonai al nikla, lecha dodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Bori v'shalom ateret bala. Gai simcha u'tzohala. Toch emunei am segula. Bori kala. Lecha dodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Please be seated. Please turn to page 144. We're used to doing the Hatzikadosh in Hebrew, but again, Roy and I thought that it's good to sometimes read this in English and spend a little bit of time pondering what it is that we're reading. So if you'll all join with me together in the English at the bottom of the page, let's think about these words. Exalted and hallowed be God's great name in the world which God created according to plan. May God's majesty be revealed in the days of our lifetime and the life of all Israel, speedily, imminently, to which we say, Amen. Blessed be God's great name to all eternity. Blessed, praised, honored, exalted, extolled, glorified, adored, and lauded be the name of the Holy Blessed One, beyond all earthly words and songs of blessing, praise, and comfort, to which we say, Amen. We turn to the Barku on page 146. And please stand. And again, looking at some of the footnotes, it's interesting, if we look at the bottom of that page, it says, for those who choose, the prayer leader at the word Barku bends the knees and bows from the waist. And sometimes when people have been visitors to our services, they ask, why do we do that? Barku is a sign of blessing and giving adoration and thanks to God. So that's part of our tradition, and that's what we do as we face the ark. Okay. Please be seated.
Page 148, we're going to do the Ma'ariv, Aravim, which is talking about nature and the seasons, also in English. So in the middle of page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and then changes the seasons.
and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tezavot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Haravim.
On page 150, we'll do Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limata, Otanu limadeta. Aken Adonai Eloheinu Mishtamenu, Ukumenu Nasiach Bechutecha, Benizmach Bedivrei Toratecha, U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, Ki em chayenu, Ve'orech yameinu, Uvahem neged yoman v'layla, neged yoman v'layla, ve'ahatat al tazir, Rimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Please stand for the Shema, the next page, 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Page 154. Again, we will do the Via Opta in English. So we'll join together in the middle of the page. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohim Emet. So we're going to have a guest leader to enhance our singing a little bit. So Nez Huckabee has agreed to lead us in Michamocha. That's on page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Kayam Lifnei Moshe Miriam Selianu Ve'amru Adonai Yimloch Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed V'nemar Kifat Adonai et Yaakov Uglo miyad chatzak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yashar Koach.
Good. Okay, the Hashkivenu is on page 160, and there are some talit in the back. Maybe I put them on the bookcase back there, so we can grab some talit. If we could stand and find a partner to help us with the talit. Okay, 62. Vishamru 162.
Good. Vishamru on page 162. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. B'nei Yisrael, B'nei Yisrael, Orti leolam. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat
Medora tamburito lam. Uvayam hasivi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat, Medora tamburito lam.
So it reminds me of the wave when you go to a baseball.
For those that are unfamiliar with the tradition, the youth of the synagogue will teach you the word et is when you stand up, is to get rid of some energy. I think if nothing else, you could sit through the service, but it's also good for the legs. And so you'll notice young people, especially doing the standing on the et. So
You're young people.
That's right. Yeah, then you're young. That's right. We try to keep up
It's
with
young people and those who desire to continue to be young forever.
Right. Okay. Tefillah.
All right, tefillah on page 164 to 180. Stand right. We're doing this together.
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Elohei Melech Ozeo Mashiach Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu atah gibor me'olam Adonai Mekayem kimcha v'tishia Mori v'chol Mekayem Chaim v'chesed Mekayem Edrim v'chakamin Somek noflim ve'rofek holim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Mishanei afar Mishamoka amirot Umidamela Melech meni Umekayem Umatir asurim Benekmarat al-Komati, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayem ha'edim, Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, Kadoshim v'kol yom v'chalatzimah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Page 175, they would say. Adonai Please be seated.
So if you're following along in the program, there's going to be a slight change in venue. So instead of doing Shalom Rav, we're going to do Oseh Shalom today, and that's on page 180, towards the bottom. Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Ve'akol Yoshvei Tevenu. Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael. Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens and make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all who inhabit this earth. Amen.
Amen. We turn now to the prayers, page 371, Misha Barak, 371. And I have here a list that Janie has prepared for us, and then we'll ask for other names for prayers for loved ones, friends, healing. Penny Clark, Janice Schulman, Sandy Lewin, John Noxon, Faith Gobuddy, Meredith Rosenberg, Carol Wismiller, Jerry Steinke, Sandra Albert, Bill Roselle, Mark Snyder, Celia Kessler, Macy Linder, Jean Beeman, John Noxon, Deborah Marcus, Matt Drake, Sarah Durant, June Sangregat, Eliza Kaplan, Monty Wagner, Charles Pickett. And Barbara, was that for your mother, Jean? Right, so it was on the list. So many of you probably saw the announcement that her mother did pass away yesterday, a week ago. So our prayers and thoughts are with you. So others that we'd like to keep in prayers, starting over with Hank in this side.
Mitch Phillips, Vicki Donnelly, Sue Knight,
Thank you.
Greg Steffi.
Okay. John Pratt. Rick, on Zoom.
There's nobody's name on here, but I'd like to share something real quickly. John Noxon, whose name has been on there for quite some time, because he had a kidney transplant, has almost completely recovered and has regained his health. I saw him yesterday and today, and he's doing extraordinarily well. So prayers are working.
That's great news. That's good news. Okay, let's join together in Misha Barak. Misha Barak, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera imotenu, makor habracha, lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Bob. Know what you've all been waiting for, Roy's Devar. So this week's Parsha is actually a double Parsha, Matot Masai, and it's the longest portion of the year, runs from Numbers 30, verse 1 through 36, verse 13. And other than in the Jewish leap years, those two portions are read together. In the leap year, it's separated into two readings. Matot, the first of the two readings, means tribes, and it's derived from the words of Numbers 31, which says, Then Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the sons of Israel. Matot begins with Moses conveying the laws governing the annulment of vows to the heads of tribes of Israel. To me, a particularly challenging part of this is use the term misogynistic ruling that allows a man to determine all his own vows and then to live by those. But a woman's vows, when she speaks them aloud, can be immediately considered invalid if annulled by her governing father, or if she's betrothed, or by her husband. And the only time when a woman's vows are, as she speaks them without having the opportunity of another person annulling them, is if a woman has been married and is now divorced, or if she's widowed. And in those cases, her vows are self-determined and binding. I could spend my whole Devar discussing this issue, but I'm going to leave further discussion to Torah study tomorrow and let them talk about that. For a man, the only vehicle for annulment of his vows are those that are affected either by a Torah scholar. It's not clear to me who that is, whether it's the rabbi, but that's what the Parsha says, or a panel of 3 judges. So Matot opens with Moses' instruction to the heads of the tribes regarding the laws of vows. And he says, if a man vows a vow to God or swears an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. According to all that proceeds out of his mouth, he shall do. A modern translation of this might be, let thy word be your vow, or to quote William Shakespeare, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. So Matot's message is to live up to your promises and to live a life of integrity. Skipping to the last reading from this long portion, in the book of Numbers we get to Masai, a word that means journeys. And the first verse, 33:1, begins with the words, these are the journeys of the sons of Israel. And it is then followed by a comprehensive and exhausting and somewhat hard to read listing and description of each of the 42 encampments or stopping places that the Israelites made after they left Egypt and until they made it to the promised land. And it literally describes each place they left, and they traveled to the desert, they get to the next place, and they stayed there for a while, and then the clouds moved, and so they decided to move along, and yada, yada. It's sort of interesting that it goes into all those details. Each of the encampments is not really a destination into itself. It was just a way station or stopping place. So the analogy made by rabbinical scholars is that this Torah portion is using the sojourn from Egypt to Palestine as symbolic of each of our personal journeys through life. Pauses, interruptions, setbacks are an inadvertent part of any individual's sojourn on earth and our eventual death and rejoining God in the afterlife. It is not the end of our life that is important, but is everything we accomplish along the way at each of those stops. Each day brings new work to do, but also new discovery, new joy, new meaning, and new connections to God. The modern expression is life is not about the destination, but about the journey. How we travel through time, how we live each day as individuals, learning and growing from our daily experiences. The 42 way stations described in Maasai connect this portion to the lesson in Matot about owning our vows and living with integrity. Again, I'll take a quote from one of my favorite authors, Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he says, "To finish the moment, to find the journey's end in every step of the road, to live the greatest number of good hours is the definition of wisdom." To a person who might say despairingly, "Look how far I have yet to go," the Torah says, don't give up. After all, look how far you've already come from Egypt. A little further, a little more effort, and you'll reach the next stage. Don't take on the whole journey at once. Go one step, one stage at a time. Set your goals just on the next step. Eventually, all of us will get to Eretz Israel. Each of us will experience our own individual redemption, and the Jewish people as a whole will also achieve redemption. So choose your vows carefully, live up to those vows, learn from your experiences, and value the life and journey that God has set before you. Shabbat Shalom. The yada yada was my interpretation.
Thank you, Roy. What Roy doesn't know is that life's journey for him, since you're now retired, doesn't mean you get to play tennis all the time, but you may be going to rabbinical school.
Or not.
Yes, okay. The Aleinu, page 586. Let us stand together, please. Please be seated.
We'll be doing the Mourner's Kaddish on 598. And again, I'll read the list that we have of those who've passed in the last 10 months, and then also those for whom there are yard sites at this time of year. And then if anyone has any other names that they want to add, please do so. Herschel Adler, Eric Friedman, Carlos Garcia, Elaine Kaplow, Judah Rosen, Laura Sender Lawrence, Ann Ball, Maxine Jacobson, Wendy Phoenix, Stanley Mendelson, John Rice, Lucette Brown, William Joseph Losa, Marianne Bloomberg, Ronald Davis, Gary Malkin, Stanley Carter, Jean Saperstein Beeman, and Noga Panini. Did I say that correctly? For the art sites, we have Marlene Bauer, Ruth Clark, Stella Cohen, Fishel Cornfield, Carlin Cortland, Lester Foreman, Luis Friedson, Wayne Grossman, Estelle Klein, Daniel Korn, Ruth Lehman, Adrian Pizer Nathan, Abraham Allen Rome, Emma Ronquillo Melangan, Elizabeth Vale, and Arthur Wasserman. Other names anyone would like to add? On Zoom?
Lisa Gillette.
Thank you. We all stand as one in honor of all of those we mentioned, as well as the 6 million and all those who are now dying in Ukraine and in other places around the world. So, Kaddish is on page 598. Please join me. Yitkadash v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'yamati v'rah mich malchutei v'yachon Yehi shemei rabba v'rah v'yalam umaya Yibbarach v'yishtarach v'yitra'ar v'yitraman v'yinaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitaleh, shemei d'kusha brechu. Ve'elah min kol b'chata b'shirta, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yoma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shama rabba min shemaya, v'kayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mama, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen.
Please be seated. We have our announcements to just, again, inform the community of the things going on in our midst. Thank you to Roy for putting together the service tonight.
And Bob.
You know, to assist. Just like being in Permspiel, isn't it? Yeah. Forest study tomorrow morning online at 9 o'clock, and we'll continue to talk about what Roy brought up for the study is the text there. And the next week, join us at 7 p.m. and Roberta and Dave Malkin will be leading the services. The Neshama calendar is up and ready, so you can sign up your youth, your children, your kids for another amazing year with Neshama. So online, we have I think over 40 youth last year, and we hope to even better that number again this year. Our Raise the Roof campaign, we had a great dinner, wonderful time with the lamb and everybody being there. We are working towards our $50,000 goal, a little around $12,000 was it, that we raised at the dinner. So we're making headway, and those are all matched by a donor too. So that will be great. Upcoming dates, we have the food fair coming, and we'd like for you to go online and to volunteer so that September 10th is not very far away. We need to start making food. I'll be making blintzes, you'll be making bananas. We'll be making chopped liver, all kinds of good things. So macaroons. So if you'd like to help make food and have a good time, and work with other people, let us know. Joel's the person in charge, back in the back with his hand up. Okay.
Yeah, the order is already up, the order form. I know I already placed an order, so feel free to place an order for your food. And in addition to the food that we've done the last few years because of COVID, you're just picking up, there'll also be what we're calling a dine-in option. You can order some sandwiches and some soup and a couple other items, and it'll be ready for you to sit there and nosh and hang out with some of your friends, as well as picking up whatever other things you've ordered to take home.
So that's great. The concert series coming again, starting in November. So go online and look at that, and you can register for the concert series.
And there were brochures in the back also, which lists all the dates and the performers.
Okay. And the fundraising committee is getting together to do not only the Raise the Roof, but other fundraising besides the food fair. And if you'd like to be part of that committee, let Roy know or myself, and we'll work with you on that. One last thing, some of you saw the email from the rabbi. She wrote a really nice email from Israel. And just to put you on the spot for a moment, the two of you, their daughter is one of the ones, I don't know if everybody knows. So why don't you say a word about what's happening with your daughter? And
So my daughter, followed in Rabbi's daughter, Liza, and was inspired and wanted to live us in the just and their other daughter, Lily, Layla and Lily, she was home here, so the two girls in the festival. So we would not only Liza and Lily, but Layla to be my
right. And we can hear more stories at ONEG about what's going on. That would be great, or see pictures. Thank you very much. The Rosh Hashanah luncheon? Rosh Hashanah, okay.
I'll help with the Yom Kippur luncheon. Just kidding.
Okay, you're fired as a rabbi now. Okay, closing song, sir.
All right. Well, as an encore to singing Elton John, I'm going to sing Odon Olam for our closing number, and it's to a song that I hope many of you know, so you can join in. And it's an English translation of Odon Olam with just a little bit of Hebrew, and if you have the brochure from today, it's the words, both the English and the Hebrew are on the back of that. So bear with me while we sing Odon Olam to the tune of The Water is Wide. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'hevzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Always here before the start, you made a world, earth, sea, and sky, and with your breath began my heart. There is no one but Adonai. In times of dark, I go to you. You light my day. You guard my night. You come to all who call you near. I know your hand. You'll guide my heart. Throughout my days until I die, a tree of love, eternal flame, with a beginning without an end. L'adore, vador, you will remain always here before the start. You made a world, earth, sea, and sky, and with your breath began my heart. L'adore, vador, Adon Olam. There is no one but Adonai. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us in Oneg.